As Managing Director of Caribbean Awning Paula Calderon puts it, in the political world, promises that may not materialize are made. The Labour administration had built its campaign around job creation. But Mrs. Calderon says, given the harsh global economic climate, it would be naive to think that many jobs would be made available. Mrs. Calderon says she was definitely not fooled into thinking that the job market was going to improve.
Well, first of all, in a political world, you say things that not necessarily may be true. That's how politics runs. But from a sensical point of view, from people, if they understood what was happening outside the world, we are not living in a cocoon. I never thought that there would be more jobs created. I never for 1 minute thought that, because I knew what was happening in the world and I knew how it was affecting slowly my particular business and the rest of the businesses. A lot of people try to hold on to their staff for as long as possible, and the manufacturers have done that to a certain extent. But how long that can happen, I don't know. So, I mean, I can't say for the rest of St. Lucia who thought that there would be so many jobs available. Personally, I did not think that there would be that many jobs available at this point in time.
Apart from the economic woes, Mrs. Calderon lamented the fact that the majority of the local workforce comprises unskilled workers. In an era of modern technology, according to her, many people do not possess the prerequisites in areas required by the job market. She says employees can no longer depend on companies to train them when shortly thereafter they leave the company that funds their training. Mrs. Calderon called on workers to take advantage of the many online courses available. She believes that if they heed the advice, then that employment situation is likely to improve.
So a lot of people are obsolete. And unless they train themselves, because you can no longer depend on a company to train you, spend a whole lot of money, and then tomorrow you spend 1 or 2 years and you leave the company. It's not viable. There are lots of courses available online everywhere. People need to make that effort to go out and train themselves for what is happening in the world today. And a lot of people in our companies are obsolete because they do not understand the technology. They do not understand computerization within the whole gambit of their technology. So it's a two-way issue, a two-way thing. We are losing jobs for economic reasons, but we are also losing jobs or not being able to hire people in St. Lucia that have the capacity. And so there are also people out there who just don't want to work. They want a job, but they don't want to work. I just put out an ad for some technicians, and the response has been extremely poor. If you put it in the newspaper, it's also poor because people don't read.
Mrs. Calderon says with the advent of the revamped OECS Economic Union, which allows free movement of persons, goods and services across the sub-region, it is imperative that St. Lucians get trained, otherwise local employers will be left with no choice but to hire skilled personnel from other member states. She also noted that many persons are living beyond their means and having more children than they can afford to support. Mrs. Calderon believes that in these tough economic times, people must take charge of their lives. For the DBS News World, I am Don Nicholas reporting.